Hey Faith Family, welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast at Calvary Bible, where we go beyond the Sunday sermon to explore some rabbit holes and to bring some biblical truths to the surface. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Calvary Bible Church, welcome in to a special episode, Beyond Sunday. If you're listening, you're going to hear a different voice.
That would be my voice.
Yes, Jordan Siller. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So if I'm sure most of the Faith Family, you guys got wind, whether on a Sunday morning or on Realm or even on the Overflow, that we've had a few part-time hires here recently, and Jordan is one of them. He is, what's your official title?
Director of Discipleship.
Okay, Director of Discipleship. We'll talk about that in a minute. Randy's visiting his mom up in Maine. And so he takes this week. He's not preaching on Sunday. We're in Global Outreach Summit week. And so it's a great opportunity for him to go visit, take care of his mom, and just love her well. And Jordan's stepping in.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually really nervous. I'm just going to throw that out there because I normally edit the podcast.
Yes.
I am not on this side of the camera. So yeah. You'll see some shaky hands, maybe.
Okay.
So I'll try to say, it could be the coffee though.
Your voice sounds strong though.
Oh,
you don't have a wavering voice.
Trying.
Project.
Yeah.
Like you're confident.
Yeah. Pretend.
That's exactly right. We all do it. Okay. So I want to take just a few minutes to get into your role a little bit. Maybe before we do that, do you have a joke? I mean, you listen to this every week.
So
did you come prepared?
I
wondered if
I did. I might have two jokes depending.
Okay.
So we'll see. For like your kids played soccer, right? Okay. Minimally, but they have. And you played soccer.
I did.
Yeah. So you're a big fan. So this is for you. All right. Why are pigs not allowed to play soccer?
Pigs not allowed to play soccer. I like this. You came prepared.
Yeah, it's personal.
I don't know. I don't know. Why?
No, they always hog the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I had a ball hog on my team.
Yep.
But he scored goals, so
that's okay.
It's okay.
Warranted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, what's the second one?
So it's related to the sermon. It's a Jonah joke.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Another, man.
Yeah.
You're sharp.
I'm trying to be. I did look it up really quickly before this just to see. Yeah. All right, let me see if I can actually remember this one because it's a little bit longer. The setup takes a little bit of time here.
Gotcha.
All right. So, but there was a young lady. Okay. She was flying on a plane and she had her scriptures with her. She was a good Christian woman. And so she pulls them out and she's reading, and the gentleman next to her, a stranger, he's like, "Hey, what are you reading?" And she's like, "Well, I'm reading through Jonah." He's like, "Come on. You can't believe that that's true." She's like, "I do." And he's like, "No, it is impossible for a man to be swallowed by a whale." And she says, "Well, when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask Jonah." And the guy kind of like smirks and he's like, "What if he didn't make it to heaven?" And then she says, "Well, then you can ask." Not as happy of a joke.
No, but it's right. It does just segues right into what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
The importance of evangelism.
Yes.
And that might not be the most effective way to start an evangelistic conversation.
Yeah. Perhaps not.
But God uses our ineffectiveness sometimes. Take solace in that.
That's right.
We will get to a Jonah question, a Beyond Sunday type thing. But first, Director of Discipleship. So tell me, give everybody just a glimpse at kind of where you are in life. So there's a little bit of a professional transition, doing some schooling. Speak to that for just a minute.
Yeah. So this season of life, I am a seminary student. I'm working part-time in marketing and design for a small creative agency in Lancaster, and now part-time as Director of Discipleship at church.
Yeah.
The last 4 years I've been in school, gaining my bachelor's in biblical studies first, and then moving on to start MDiv training. And so I have another 5.5 years left in that track at the part-time schedule that I'm at. But moving along.
At what point did you kind of sense a desire to be in ministry? And you and I have had conversations over the years, and I know you've talked to Randy too. And at one point there was kind of an inflection point where it was, do I go into kind of like church ministry or do I go into teaching like at a seminary kind of academia world? Just speak to that.
Yeah. So I've always had, well, not always, but for the last probably decade, I've had this desire to teach and to disciple. And so the Lord began to grow that passion in such a way where I'm like, well, I need actual real training now. I was completely unsure of what track I would go down, whether it's academia or if it was going to be teaching or in a pastoral sense. But so I just was like, okay, I'm just going to start training and see where the Lord begins to pull me. And so I knew I needed to get my bachelor's in biblical studies first before I could actually work towards my MDiv. That was a requirement for the school that I wanted to attend. And so I just started going through that, graduated. And by the end of graduation, I had already the opportunity to preach once here at Calvary and began to work with the young adults in some small capacity to be able to teach. And those moments began to solidify that I felt like the Lord was calling me into the local church, at least for now. I love the academic world. I think I'm more of an academic than one to be the academic teacher.
Yeah. You're a smart guy. You enjoy your studies.
I love to study.
Your books.
I love being in school. Love books. But I really feel just led to be in everyday relationship and walking alongside of the fellow people in the church.
Yeah, and that's great. And I would affirm that. Like, I think it's been fun to watch you grow in that and now get more of an opportunity. So Jordan, along with Cam Gingrich, are both they're on similar tracks. Jordan's doing full-time student work. I'm sorry, I said Cam.
Yeah.
I meant to say Cam. Cam's doing full-time. Jordan's doing part-time, which allows for him to be here. But anyway, just it's exciting to have a couple of young men who have a strong desire to be in the church, in the ministry, and get to work on it. So doing the school. And so your job title, Director of Discipleship, mirrors my job title, Pastor of Discipleship. And so Jordan's going to be kind of working alongside of me. And as some of my responsibilities shift here, some will get offloaded to Jordan. Not all of that's worked out yet. But right now it's kind of, just bringing Jordan along. He's getting some work done already here in week number 1, and then while I'm going on sabbatical, he will not be me, but he'll definitely carry some of that load, maybe more than most people. So on the ministry side of things. So anyway, that's good. Anything else to add there?
I don't think so. I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. I'm so excited to be working alongside of you, Pastor Randy and Rich, and so many, the elders. There's so much that I know that I can learn from you guys. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity. Yeah,
it's a good fit, and we really do feel like the Lord, through a lot of prayer and fasting, was just closed certain doors, on a staffing side of things, and at the same time was just dropping people kind of right in our lap. And so between Rich and you and Gavin here in the last few months, each one of these guys has giftings in these particular lanes that they're running in and a strong desire for it. And not just that, but they're right here among us. They're in the faith family. They know you all and you know them, and that'll only continue. And obviously Rich's history here is extensive, but for Gavin and Jordan, that's only going to deepen, and we're excited about it. So it's good stuff. All right, let's get to Jonah.
Oh yeah.
We're in Jonah. You're not Randy. Nope. I'm not Randy. But we're all familiar with the book of Jonah. And what I appreciated about just looking at that book again on Sunday morning, chapters 1, 3, and 4, was the global outreach angle that we were able to take. Because here's Jonah as one of God's prophets, and it's such an unusual minor prophet. Very unique to the others that we see, because it's much more narrative, right? In its structure, it's a story, which is why even people who don't know the Bible at all, or have never owned a Bible or cracked one open, they kind of know about Jonah in some ways.
Yeah, they enjoy it as a story because they're used to fables, and so there's a mimicking of what feels like a fable, though we see this as actual history. At least that's what Christ would have said as well.
I was just going to say, for some of the folks, it's a little bit of a side point here, but why do we view it as history and not just fable?
Yeah, but because Christ references it as history, and so I default to what Christ says as much as I possibly can. It's usually the aim.
I love to argue and debate with people sometimes, just for the fun of it. But I will not argue with him on that one.
Yeah.
So Jonah, again, we covered pretty much the whole book, minus chapter 2, in one morning. So we just want to look at Jonah's example. And one of the things Pastor Randy helps us with often is when we're looking at these Bible characters, these people in the stories, are they a go and do likewise or go and do otherwise type of example? That's always a relatively easy way to just read the scriptures and help think about, application sides. And so Jonah in these chapters is a go and do otherwise. So he's told to go to Nineveh, and Randy laid out the directions for us. He essentially he runs the other way. And so what I'd like to talk about just for a minute are what are some ways that we run the other way. Now, God's not regularly, as far as I'm aware, giving us missions to go on in the same way that he did with Jonah. But still subtly in our lives, like we know God still has called us to certain things, including making disciples.
Yeah.
And so that is clear. And so we may not be packing our bags and driving across the country, in the opposite direction of something, but we can still in our hearts do that. Yeah. So I've got some thoughts there. I'll let you lead off though.
Yeah, no, that's the thoughts that were coming to my mind as I was thinking through the sermon on the way home was just that where, we might not be spending all this money to flee from God, from his commands. We might not be hearing the audible voice of God to do something, but we do have his written word that is the Great Commission that we are to go and make disciples. And so for us, it could just be the neighbor. It could be your coworker. It could be somebody that's literally just a foot away from you. And though you're not fleeing and spending money to get as far away from them as possible to disobey God's command, our hearts can still be that 2,000 miles away because we just feel whether it's a sense of fear. It could be the sense of just not even liking the person in the way that
that was Jonah's
exactly. Could be a quote unquote enemy of yours that you're just, I am far from this person. But yeah, we all flee to some extent.
Yeah, and I think we just to monitor what's going on in our hearts. What are our motives? And I want to get to that maybe towards the end again. Just what's the heart motives? But yeah, I think there's so much on the line, and we don't talk about that a lot. But we're talking about a heaven and hell for eternity. Yeah, and whether it's sometimes we shy away from evangelizing people who we do love. Yeah. Because of, like you mentioned, maybe fear, intimidation, concern of how they might respond or reject, not even just the message, but may reject us. Yeah. And so that's real. It's not something that we want to just ignore because it's there. But at the same time, it shouldn't be something that stops us from sharing the gospel with that person, not just in action, but in word. But then there's other times where, we might fall maybe more in line with Jonah's situation here, where it's not someone we know or love, and it might even be someone who we have a disdain for and don't really like. But what we do have, even though God's not speaking to us in the same way that he spoke to Jonah, like his spirit is still leading us. And I think we really want to be sensitive to the Spirit's leading in our lives and promptings, because it could be, and to like some of the folks here, their credit, they're like I've been encouraged because people will I get to hear some stories. And so to hear someone say, hey, I was at this restaurant and I just felt the Lord prompting me to, hand a tract or share the gospel or ask them if I can pray for them, to the cashier or whatever. And they do it. And they kind of like take that step of faith into what maybe wouldn't be normal or comfortable. And the Lord, he blesses that. So I think there's no 100% success rate as far as someone coming into the family of God, but the success rate that we do want to strive for is just the success of being obedient. So we can do that, but
and all this pours out from a true understanding of grace. Because if there is a lack of your understanding of the grace that God has for you, you're not going to be as eager and willing to evangelize, and you're not frankly going to care about the souls of those either. So it kind of reminds me of there's a very staunch atheist and like a magician comedy duo, Penn and Teller.
Oh yeah,
many people know them.
Yep.
Penn, he's the one that spoke, right? I think there's a play on words.
Yes.
Teller didn't speak.
Correct.
Right. So I don't know why Penn was being interviewed about this, but he's a staunch atheist, very anti-Christian, and the topic came up about people evangelizing to him, and he had said something along the lines of that people just don't evangelize to him. They don't share the gospel with him. And he said, like, how much must you hate me to actually believe that I'm going to hell and not even try to share the gospel with me? And for me, like, that's always, when it comes to the topic of evangelism, tying that to grace and understanding grace is like, oh my word, it's, you might not be outwardly hating them, but do you care for their souls?
Yeah, I've heard that before too, and it's a very logical. He's 100% right on that.
Yeah.
It's usually not because we hate that person,
right?
But it's because we fear rejection or something like that. So I think we really do want to monitor our hearts and make sure that we're, just doing it for the right reason. And like you just said, motivated by God's grace. Because the more I think we understand and continue just to revel in God's mercy and grace in our life, it's just going to want to naturally come out of us.
Right. Yeah. There's like no other option. Like this is how I must live in light of what God has done for me. Yeah. And no matter how good you are at evangelizing, I mean, Sam Fry gets thrown out there all the time as like a guy who does it well. Whether you're a Sam Fry or you're on the other end of the spectrum, we want to be obedient to make disciples, and part of that's sharing the gospel. And if you're not clean with your presentation, or you don't nail, the Romans road right, or whatever it is, the four spiritual laws, God can use really poor gospel presentations, because that's what he did in Nineveh. There is some debate as to what did Jonah say and what was his message. I should be open to Jonah right now, but I'm not. Here we go. His message is, yet 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. How's that for a gospel message? No mention of anything. No mention of, sacrifice, who God is, his justice, etc. Just 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. But I believe that they probably understood a little bit about who he was, a little bit about his background. Israel had a reputation at that point. So there was probably some background knowledge that was informing his message. But nevertheless, that message, no one's betting on the fact that Nineveh is going to turn based on that poor, I'll call it a poor gospel presentation. And yet the whole city, So the Lord will use us in our weakness. And what's interesting too is, what Randy had pointed out is that though Jonah obeyed that second time that he was given that chance to go to Nineveh after the whale incident, he still did it with a heart that didn't care for, his heart was not in it. And yet the Lord still used that imperfect man and the imperfect presentation. And I think that's where maybe we ought to close, is just talking about Jonah's heart, because I think the scary thing for me is I don't ever want to get to the place where I'm doing the right thing but with the wrong motives, because he did it. He did the right thing, and you might think, well, at least he did his duty, did his due diligence, and he was obedient, but he wasn't really obedient.
because you see his reaction play out. I mean, you almost see it in his message.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you really care?
Mm-hmm.
I probably have a harsher view of Jonah maybe than most people. Some people want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I see no reason to necessarily, other than if he's the author of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're kind of left with a cliffhanger here. The book ends in a very non-traditional way. It ends with a question, and we don't know what happened with Jonah. So, but if Jonah is the author of this book, that the humility that he would have had to process and work through, and the repentance that he would have had to process and work through to then record what happened, likely or potentially even at God's direction, to record this like he does with Jeremiah sometimes.
Yeah.
Write these things down, for him to then be obedient to that and record it for us, for the scriptures, would demonstrate that Jonah did have a change of heart. And so it's just, we're always monitoring our hearts. What are our motives? Because I want to do the right thing, but I want to do it with the right, motives and heart behind it, not just out of obligation.
Yeah. It's not just pragmatism, just doing it to do it. Because the Lord sees the heart. We know that Christ calls attention to the heart being the source of our motives. And so that is what's being evaluated. It has always been interesting, just the open-endedness of Jonah, because we want to know, like, did he come around? Did he actually see, what the Lord wanted him to see? We don't know that, of course. And maybe like that young girl we can ask in heaven, but
we can ask Jonah. What was going on there? How did that end? What did the next week look like? That's great. Okay. All right, I got a joke for you.
Oh,
you ready for this?
Courtesy
of the guys on Doc Talk.
Okay.
Those guys are funny. They make me laugh. So anyway, nothing starts with an N and ends with a G.
Oh, yep.
There you go.
Got it.
Nothing. Hope you all got that too. If you didn't, just rewind 10 seconds and listen to that one again.
Spell it out on screen. Just
there you go. There's your hint. Anyway, Jordan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You'll probably see Jordan again, maybe at least over the summer. If I'm not here, you can sit down with Randy.
Oh, all right.
A time or two and make something happen. Anyway, we love you guys. Appreciate you listening in. And let's put the scriptures into practice. It's here for our instruction. It's here for our hope. And let's cling to it and, live it out. So we'll see you on Sunday. Don't forget, 9:00 in the sanctuary. No ABFs this week if you're listening to it, kind of currently. And then Chris Stout is with us on Sunday. So we're excited to have him with us for the weekend. So, all right, have a great week. Love you guys.
See ya.
Thanks again for joining us on today's episode. And remember, our Sunday sermons are meant to lead us to a life of worship beyond Sunday.